I didn't like Dominion, the documentary. And maybe you watched it, maybe you liked it, I'm not really sure. But I wanted to talk to you about vegan documentaries in general, and especially Dominion, because it's the last one that I've watched, it's the last one that came out, and I just wanted to like express my opinion about it. And I know probably a lot of people, especially vegans, will not share my opinion, but I just wanted to put this out there. So, first thing is that Dominion is a copy of Earthlings. Like, that's it. I went to the screening 2 weeks ago here in Barcelona, and I'm really happy that they did a screening here because I feel like the vegan community is growing, and it was a really cool place to like find vegans. It actually made me realize that there's a vegan girl living like in my building, which is so funny because it's like from the like 60 people that were probably at the screening, one of them is living like one floor over me. Just like the funniest thing. But yeah, I went to the screening, I watched the documentary, and the first thing that I saw is that it was a freaking copy of Earthlings. And I was like, I didn't come to see a documentary to see another brutality, assassination thing. You know, like I've already watched Earthlings. I think the documentary of Earthlings might be necessary to like see from time to time because it was also like the documentary that made me vegan. I don't think that we really need that much brutality and that much blood and be doing like the same documentary over and over again in different countries to like really make people see that what is happening, because I think we all know that even though maybe Dominion was filmed in Australia, it doesn't mean that this is not happening in Spain, because we all know that this is happening in Spain and in Europe and in the US, everywhere. It's just happening everywhere. It's just happening everywhere to different extents, but animal cruelty is just something that we thought was normal and we learned to live with it, and now we are realizing that how bad it is. But I feel like that documentary was just like another blood after blood after blood, and honestly, it bored me to death. When I watched Earthlings, at least like I've learned a little bit about it, because it was the first time I was watching a documentary that was about what happens behind the scenes in a way. And it made me feel really bad, it made me cry a lot, and it made me really like empathize with animals. When I watched Dominion, I felt nothing. I honestly felt nothing. And I think that if I didn't feel anything, it was because I'm like starting to see so much pictures and videos and everything from like vegan activists who are like trying to show that what is happening, that I'm kind of like being desensitized to it, and I don't want to be I don't want to stop being sensitive to those images. But I feel like vegan activists in general are like putting too much brutality out there. Like that documentary literally taught me nothing. It's just like, it was like murder and murder and murder, and it was like, okay, I know that there's murder happening, and maybe some people need to see this, especially people who are like trying to become vegan, and maybe, I don't know. But at the same time, it's like, why don't you like at least get some facts? Because maybe a lot of people want to become vegan, and maybe they need something more than just blood, you know, to become vegan. Because What the Hell, for example, is a documentary that I really like for the facts that it put out there, but it also lacks the emotion. So I feel like there should be some kind of documentary that puts everything together so that it makes you learn something, it makes you feel something. But I feel like vegan documentaries should like start changing and being more empowering to people, and not just being like, this is everything that happens and you cannot change it overnight. You can just like start changing your choices, and with time we will all become vegans, and then one day everything will be better. No, because I feel like that's really disempowering for people, because they know that there's not going to be like an instant change right now. Like obviously if every one of us starts becoming more aware and we start like cutting meat and dairy and everything out of our diet, at some point we'll reach it. But I feel like this aggressive way that vegan documentaries have to like show or prove their point, it's just getting too much. And I don't know, it's just showing a side of veganism that I don't really like. I think they did a really good job at filming everything. They did a really good job at getting the footage. I don't really know how they got that good footage in the way of like people mistreating animals and everything. But I just couldn't feel anything with that documentary, because it just has come to a point where I'm like not even sensitive to these images anymore, because I'm seeing them way too much every time, every day in social media here and there. Well, that was just my opinion. I don't know if you like the documentary, I don't know if you've seen it. If you do, if you liked it, if you didn't, please shared below. I would love to know your opinion. I would love to know if anyone has an idea of like what we could do to create a documentary that was more empowering for people, like where people would learn a little bit more, where there would be like a little bit more facts and like emotion, like everything, but put together in a way that is not making you cry during the whole thing, and that doesn't make you want to quit watching it. Because everyone I know that has watched Earthlings has actually watched Earthlings, because no one ever finished that documentary. Like even I didn't finish it. I feel now like more or less I finished it because I watched Dominion until the end, and it was the same thing, and it was even longer. So I feel like I've watched Dominion, so I know that Earthlings probably finishes in the same way because the structure is the same. And I don't know, the fact that it's like a literal copy of the same thing, it's like it doesn't have a storyline, and it just like murder, 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 murder. And then at the end it's just like a few sentences of like, we should stop eating animals and eggs and dairy because then the planet will be better, blah blah blah. But it's like just like this 3 minutes of like conclusion, and it's like there's no connection between anything. And I just feel like that was just poorly done in a way. Like the storyline was just poorly done. I'm a vegan myself and I just didn't like it. I hope someone benefited from this video, and I'll see you next time.